Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Monday, Saints TV Weekly, post round 2. And we won! So that's good, we're off the mark, we're 1-1. Good to get on the board and see the boys get a win in Perth at Optus Stadium. Our first win there ever, and our first win in Perth since 2017. Driven by King and Higgins, and who I thought was close to best on ground, or maybe you guys think he is best on ground, or close to it, Josh Battle. So those three really did drive us. Dan McKenzie as well. So straight off the bat, that's the big piece of news, was that we got the chocolates. It was 55-65. And it was really just the third quarter. So if you're going to watch the replay, I highly recommend skipping the first and then watch a bit of the second, because we dominated. We just didn't get the score on the board. And then the third was kind of Saints footy, and we were clinical. It was, King and Higgins. They kicked all the goals in the third. And then King finished it off with the sealer in the fourth. The only other goal kicker we had for the day was Dan Butler, who kicked our first goal of the game. From that point on, it was all King and all Higgins. So that's how influential they were, that we basically had 3 goal kickers for the entire game, and that was enough to get the win away from home in a hostile environment against a young up-and-coming team in Fremantle, who were missing a few players, but so are we. And now we come back to Melbourne and we play again on Sunday, I think at a 3:20 slot. Maddie's match against Richmond, which is a big game as well, because they're also 1-1. So good for us to get the monkey off the back. We get a bit of confidence. King gets a bit of confidence, most importantly. Higgins as well. But Battle playing great in the back line without Dougal Howard. So we got a lot of things right. And I think we probably could have won that game by more if it wasn't for some wayward kicking in the first half. 2 goals, 7 in a half. So things to work on, no doubt, but overall, really happy with the performance. And most importantly, we get the 4 points, we even the ledger at 1-1, and now we can go full throttle at Richmond on Sunday. The other bit of good news for the week is that Paddy Ryder is inching closer and closer to a senior return. He put together a pretty decent display yesterday. He played for Sandringham against Casey, and obviously Sandringham got battered. They lost by a fair bit. I think it was close to 82 points, I think. Paddy played 3.5 quarters, and that's pretty much his first competitive outing since he did his Achilles soreness, which is what I'm reading just here. There is a chance that he may not play this week, but the fact that he got through this game unscathed, he played 3.5 quarters, means that he has every chance of coming in and playing against Richmond on Sunday. The fact that we've also got the Sunday game as well means that he's got the full week to basically train and recover, and that gives us a really big opportunity and really big talking point in the selection committee this week in terms of whether we stick with Rowe and Jack Hayes, which is working pretty well, or do we really want to go for it and bring in Paddy Ryder, and does that affect whether Jack Hayes plays or not? I think a lot of us would like to see Jack Hayes stay in the team, even with Paddy coming in. But it's a good headache to have. We've had some pretty bad headaches this year so far, with players being out and just things not going our way. But this is one thing that can go our way, and it's only round 3. So the fact that we can get him back so early means we can get some legs into him, get some Ks into him, and he can hopefully create a really powerful partnership with Rowan Marshall that we all know is basically a game changer for us when they both play together. The fact that we've got Jack Hayes there is also an added bonus, and he can potentially go forward and support King and Hannebery, maybe give Rowe and Paddy a chop out and allow them to go forward as well. So that's a really good sign for us. Jaron Geary also played in 18 disposals. Dean Kent played and kicked a goal. Marcus Windhager had 23 disposals and 5 clearances. Mitch Owens finished with 20 disposals and 9 tackles, which is great. 9 tackles is immense. And Leo Connolly was pretty busy off the half-back flank and had 20 disposals himself. So he could have been another one that can come in, and that means that Sinclair can stay in the midfield and do what he's been doing the last couple of weeks, which has been really valuable with us missing players like Jones, Billings, and Hunter Clark as well, to name a few. Now for some bad news, and it's just plain old annoying news, I guess. Dan Hannebery, seems like we get this article every year. he's nearly there. He's training the house down. He's looking great. And then he will spend additional time on the sidelines. He's got an injury setback. Scans confirmed a right calf injury for the 31-year-old midfielder. And this basically puts him out. I don't know how long. It doesn't really say here. But he's got to go through another phase of rehabilitation and just manage it step by step, which could take 6 to 8 weeks. It could take months. We don't know. It's Dan Hannebery. It's always up in the air. I know it's really frustrating. And I know a lot of Saints fans are just basically saying this should just be his last year and he should retire. But I don't really like talking about that, with current players. Let them kind of make that decision for themselves and they can talk about it with their family. For us, we'll just support him as the Saints player. But unfortunately, he's only played 15 games out of a possible 65 since we signed him on a fairly decent contract. Which he did take a pay cut this season. That was something that we talked about last year. But yeah, really disappointing. I thought that he would be a player that if we got 10 to 15 games out of him this year, that would really benefit our midfield and our youngsters to get experience of someone like Dan Hannebery. But the fact that he's not going to get on the park for a while now means we just have to move on, blood some of the youngsters, give games to them, and not worry about Hannes too much. But obviously we still wish him the best and hopefully we can get him on the park. If we're a chance of finals, get him on the park late in the season like we did in 2020, and that would be great. But I wouldn't hold my breath just yet. Some other pretty average news. This was something that happened months ago. Oscar Adams, first-year Sainer, was in an accident on the 5th of February. I think we all remember this one when it came out, but the club released a statement only a couple of days ago, basically saying the St Kilda Football Club can now provide the following update. On the incident involving first-year player Oscar Adams, which occurred on the morning of February 5th. They say, following an internal review in conjunction with the club's integrity committee, executive and playing leadership group, the club has found Adams was in breach of both his player contract and the AFL Players Code of Conduct. Based on the findings of the review, Adams has been issued and accepted the following sanctions: selection ineligibility until at least round 3 of the VFL season, and an in-person address to the full playing group to discuss his conduct and apologise for his mistake. Further to this, Oscar has committed to regular unpaid involvement across a number of St Kilda's extensive community programs throughout the course of 2022. That's kind of the news for the week. It hasn't been much. Obviously, we win in Perth. Ryder potentially returns against Richmond. Dan Hannebery, setback expected. And Oscar Adams in a bit of strife, but hopefully he can come back from that and learn from it, most importantly, because he's still only a young player. And they all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. This is something that he can come back from, no doubt. Now, questions. Nice speedy Saints TV Weekly this week. This one's from George. How good was the Saints defence yesterday? Mate, it was fantastic. Freo came at us late. And we stood firm. We could have easily coughed up that game, but we didn't. Josh Battle led the defence brilliantly. He was the leader. He was the general. Did everything. Intercepted everything. But I thought we generated a bit of runoff there. Dan McKenzie was very good. A special mention to him. And Brad Hill running off half back. Cal Wilkie supporting, and we had to play on a lot of taller players. Free have got a big forward line, and they wanted to do that. They wanted to bomb and outmark us, basically. But our smaller defenders did a great job in kind of just evening the contest and not really outmarking Fremantle, apart from Josh Battle, but just getting the ball to ground or getting it towards the boundary and getting throw-ins, and we smashed them in the clearances around the ground. So the fact that we knew just get it at a ball up sort of situation, from there we could win and get forward. Jezza says, thoughts on Battle tonight? Made it very clear already, but yeah, Battle was, to me, in my player ratings video, I gave him a 10 out of 10. He, to me, was almost best on ground, even with King and Higgins. If it wasn't for Battle in the backline, I feel like we potentially could have lost that game. But you could say that if we didn't have King, we would have lost that game as well. So they all were as valuable as each other, but yeah, Josh Battle, that was one of his best games in years. And hopefully that really does give him the confidence to believe that he is a defender and not just an okay defender. He could be a very, very good defender for us. So great to see him take that leadership on when we didn't have Dougal Howard there to kind of run the show. Jordan's asking, what do you think of Dan Butler's form lately? I think it's a bit 50-50. He's not kicking the goals. He kicked one on the weekend. Not many players kick goals. There was only 3 goal kickers. He kicked the first goal of the game. It was a nice little snap on his left foot. But apart from that, he didn't do too much. The thing with Butler is, though, you know you're going to get some pressure from him, and I thought our forward line pressure early was very, very good against Fremantle, and he led the way with 6 tackles. So all of them probably were inside 50, and that's what made him so good in 2020, was that his forward line pressure was elite, but he was also hitting the scoreboard. And this year and last year, he's gotten the tackles, he's pressuring, he's doing all those little 1%ers. We just want him to get a bit more scoreboard pressure on, and hopefully next week, you just got to kick 1 or 2, 3 in a game, and he's back. He just needs to have one of those games where things just click, and he's back. So hopefully next week against his old side, he'll really thrive and really want to prove a point. Every player likes playing against his old side. So hopefully Butler can be at the feet of King and rove and kick a bag next week for us. This one's Harry. Can we match that performance next week? Absolutely. I think that the best part about this performance against Fremantle was there's still so much to improve, but we already saw so much improvement yesterday from the week before, if that makes sense. Against Collingwood, there was no chasing, no pressuring, no resilience, but on the weekend there was. And funnily enough, Collingwood, the third quarter was our best quarter. And then yesterday was the same thing. Our third quarter was it. So our third quarters are dangerous. We just need to learn how to start the game and weather the storm and just be more clinical when we're on top. The second quarter, the game could have been over. It could have been 6 goals up at halftime, but we were a goal or 2 down, and that's because we missed some easy chances. And when you do that against good teams, they're going to go the other way and kick goals. And Freo did that early. The third quarter, we took our chances and really stabilised in the fourth term. And I didn't think Fremantle were ever going to win the game after that. Even when they got within a goal or 2 in the last quarter, I was actually pretty confident that anytime the ball went into the back 50, Josh Battle and the defence would handle it. And they basically did. Apart from one shitty free kick from the umpire directly in front of goal, I didn't think Fremantle looked like scoring in the last quarter. They took a few pot shots, but that's what you do when you're desperate, and it didn't come off for them. So I thought we did really well. I think we can bring it next week against Richmond. I think we match up on them pretty well, and they don't play Marvel that well. So hopefully if we can get Paddy Ryder back, I think we're laughing, and we can put in a pretty big performance. And if we do get the performance that we all want, we all hope for, that's 2-1, and then things open up for us. So that's it, guys. That's Saints TV Weekly. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you guys for sending in your questions. The Saints TV podcast will be out tomorrow night, the full review and then preview of the Richmond game as well. And there'll be more content out during the week. Player ratings is out. That's on YouTube as well. And my full match review from last night is also out on YouTube. So keep an eye out for those. And if you're watching and you enjoy my content and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and join the Saints TV crew on YouTube. It's growing every day, and I really appreciate the support from everyone that watches the videos. So until next time, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. And as always, as I always say in every video, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.